Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to the Red River Roundup Friday edition, November 7th. It is the final week of the regular season. Week 10 games will wrap up tonight, and by Sunday at noon, thereabouts, we will know where these brackets are going to shake out for the postseason. But still a lot to settle tonight. Some district championships were decided last night, a lot of Thursday games again. And there'll be a few things to sort out. Some teams on the bubble, some teams that are trying to win district, some teams that are trying to make the playoffs, some teams that are trying to get a bye week. So we're all familiar with how this Week 10 action plays out. So we'll get you caught up on some scores from around the state that took place last night. Not really sure how some of these districts or points will shake out. I don't pretend to have a beat on all of that, but we'll keep you updated on everything that we can as we kind of figure it out and sort everything out with the help of everyone from around the state that helps us cover the LHSAA. So we'll get you caught up on some of those scores. We also have two interviews for you. We are going to speak with Ben Hackler, who's the play-by-play voice of the Sterlington Panthers. They get a win last night. They're the district champions, and they're currently the 3 seed in non-select Division III. So one way or the other, more than likely, Panthers will get a bye in the first round as they look to defend their district championship. We will also preview a huge district championship game tonight between the Tioga Indians and the Franklin Parish Patriots. The Indians 8-1, Patriots 7-2, with really the only losses for both of those teams are against really, really good teams from around the 3-1-8. So they'll face off tonight in Winsboro, and we will have quarterback Case Malone and offensive coordinator John Landry help us preview that game and kind of take a look at where Tioga stands in Select Division I. But before we get to those two interviews, we'll get you caught up on some Thursday scores, and where we have context, we'll try to provide that as well. Starting off in the northwest portion of the state, Airline gets a 1-touchdown win over Huntington. North DeSoto, they finished the season undefeated, district championships obviously, but they're 10-0, 56-3 over Bossier, and more than likely will have a stronghold on the non-select Division II top seed. Captain Shreve over Bird, 35-27. That's a rivalry game there in Shreveport. Shreve, I believe, is in the playoffs. Bird, I believe, is not. I'm not 100% sure about that, but a good rivalry game in any case. Logansport gets a win over Northwood. Logansport in Division IV non-select. They're going to be the district champions in that district, and a semifinal team from 2 years ago, and a program that's going to be a big factor in Division IV. And really, while we're at it, Mansfield, I think they have 2 regular season losses coming in to tonight. So DeSoto Parish having a really successful regular season on the gridiron. Looking over in the Northeast, General Trask 62, Delhi 26. General Trask on the bubble in Division IV. This win will certainly help them and should solidify a playoff spot for them. Oak Grove, they have a home game against OCS last night, and they win that 34-21. Surprising to some people, but 2 good teams. Somebody had to lose. That's the Eagles' first loss of the season, so they'll reboot, reset for there, and prepare for another run in Division IV Select, a bracket that they've done very well in the past few years. Ouachita 56, Pineville nothing. Ouachita, you've heard it this morning already. Some people saying Ouachita's best 6-4 team in the state. I'm not inclined to disagree very much. That's a talented team and a tough out in Division I non-select. We mentioned Sterlington. We'll talk to Ben Hackler here in a minute. Sterlington wins 42-7 over Union. They look dominant in that game. I was able to attend that game in person. Panthers looked just as good as they did last year. They were the only team really in the north part of the state to bring a trophy home from the Superdome last year, so they'll have a very important title defense here upcoming. West Ouachita 54 and Grant 52. The Catskill game in Sinlaw, Bunkie 49, Marksville 24. Both of those teams will be Division III playoff teams. Bunkie will have a top seed, might get a first-round bye depending on how games go tonight, but a good win for them in the rivalry game. Marksville, meanwhile, also going to make the playoffs at 7-3. Montgomery 36, LaSalle 32. Montgomery should get into the playoffs. LaSalle, not sure where that'll leave them in the regular season. But they might actually have a spot there in the playoffs once we get all that sorted out. Menard gets a really good win on the road against Port Barry to give them a 6-4 regular season record. They're in Division III Select, so we'll see if they can hang on to a playoff spot as well. Looking at Southwest Louisiana, Grand Lake 38, Oberlin 12, Iowa 47, DeRidder 14. Iowa finishes the regular season undefeated, and they win that district, I believe, for the 4th year in a row, according to Chasten Tavares. Lake Charles College Prep 66, South Beauregard 15. LCCP is going to be a top 10 team in Select Division II. Their offense continues to put up a ton of points. They'll be a good playoff team. Hamilton 39, Basile 13. Hamilton, another 10-0 team out of the Southwest Louisiana area. They're the district champs, and they'll head to the playoffs with a 10-0 record. Notre Dame 34, Welsh 22 teams that have made deep runs in the playoffs in their respective brackets several years here now. That's a good win for Notre Dame as they finish their regular season. Westminster Christian 37, St. Ed's 22. Crusaders continue their successful 2025 fall season. They get a win on Thursday night. Westgate wins over Como 42-7. Catholic Point Coupee 45, Opelousas Catholic 14. Plaquemine got a shutout win. Catholic with a big win over Zachary last night. Parkview gets another win, and Southern Lab puts up 74 points in their district finale. So those will be some teams heading to the playoffs with a little bit of momentum from the Baton Rouge area. And a couple games last night in the New Orleans area, Rummel gave Edna Carr a really good game. Carr able to come away with a win there. I think that game might have been tied at halftime. Not 100% certain. But Cougars go on a roll and get a win 35-14 over the Rummel Raiders. And also Jesuit with a 9-point win over Warren Easton that took place there in the Catholic League last night. Those are a few Thursday scores. Some other ones that did take place, but those are the ones that we identified as being, playoff implicated games one way or the other, or at least district implications therein. So again, a lot to sort out tonight, and it'll be all weekend before all that the dust settles and we figure out who's got what seed, who's going where in week one, and we'll have plenty of time to digest all that once those brackets come out. But again, some great games tonight, some good matchups. District titles are important. Momentum is important. Seeding obviously is super important. One team that will have a top seed is the Sterlington Panthers. They were a 6 seed last year, made a run all the way to the Superdome and got a win over St. James in the finals. And looking at what they've done so far this year, playing a tough non-district schedule with a lot of success in district and really finishing their season strong last night. They'll be a force in D3 non-select, no surprise. And we'll go ahead now and talk to Ben Hackler and take a look at what the Panthers need to do to continue the success that they've had so far. Sterlington Panthers 8-2, wrapping up the regular season, and they will start next week with their title defense. And so we're going to talk to Ben Hackler, the voice of the Sterlington Panthers. And Ben, a dominating Week 10 win for Sterlington last night, getting to wrap up on Thursday night. Some tough matchups early in the season versus Ouachita and Neville, and really a quality schedule in the non-district, taking on Tioga and taking care of business in that district before finishing off with Union Parish. What did you see through 10 weeks to get to this 8-2 record that you like, as far as just a strong regular season goes before we look at the playoffs here?
Yeah, so the first 5 weeks, we played the same schedule last year. It was super daunting last year. And then this year, we had a group of freshmen coming up and returned some guys on offense and defense that we felt good about. Some freshmen that were, there were some kids that were holdbacks, so body size-wise and athleticism, really more sophomore-type kids, but really playing time, have not faced that competition. So we go down to Tioga, and Tioga gave us that first half. It was like, this could be a long year. And but able to get things right, get that win. We didn't know at that point that Tioga was going to be as good as what they've turned out to be. So that win really, really looks good now. Then, of course, we go to, we got Rabel comes here. Then we go to get Ouachita Parish and Neville. West Washita. Those 5 teams, especially Washita and Neville, that's the 2 for us in our area that are kind of measuring sticks. And we really felt like the Washita game for sure. We had those guys on the ropes, and they just made some plays there at the end and got the win. The Neville game, kind of almost the same thing. We were right there with them step for step, and they got up on us. We were able to come back. So coming into district play, we felt like we had some really, really good things happening, but we just had not seen it all come together. Then we hit district play, and for the last 5 weeks, I was talking to Coach Doty last night. I don't know. I've been around Sterlington football since 1993, and I don't know that we've ever had 5 straight weeks of hitting a running clock against 5 different opponents. And that makes the 7th running clock this season out of 10 ball games. So, some of that is opponents having some down years. But the other thing is these guys are beginning to click, especially defensively right now, beginning to click and to do some things really, really well. Offensively, we kind of know who we are. Formations may change, but the philosophy doesn't. I think last night at the half, I think we had 26 carries already with 1 pass attempt. I mean, that is Sterlington football and has been. The coaches may change, but the philosophy kind of stays the same. We're going to attack you differently. So through 10 weeks, we've got a lot of young guys who've gotten to play, and those guys are now becoming contributors, not just guys getting some playing time. And so I think right now our coaches really, really like where we are.
Let's get into that game last night just a little bit before we look at some of this roster that you mentioned and looking at the playoffs. Battle of the Bridge last year, 2024, that game was at Union, and that was the last game that Sterlington lost in that season. They were able to, take that one on the chin and then make a run in the postseason. So what about that rivalry game, that annual game? This recent years has been in week 10, but what about that type of matchup with that kind of team, particularly, finishing with a rivalry or a team that you want to beat each year? Prepare Sterlington for the postseason, because it seemed to be just what they needed last year.
Yeah, I'll tell you a couple of things. One is, and Coach Doty said this, that when we play Union, it really is going to be the team that is the most aggressive and the most physical. That's going to be what happens. And I think in the district that we're in, and really even in Division III non-select, there's not a lot of guys that play what I would call, and I hope this is not used against me later, but what I would call big boy football. There's a lot of spread teams trying to finesse you to death. And when Union and Sterlington get together, it is not much finesse. It's going to be toe-to-toe, and let's go straight ahead and see what works. And so I think in our advantage is playing Union, they are the last offense we'll see that we really haven't seen much of. We've seen a lot of spread this year through 10 weeks or through 9 weeks. We get to Union, and it gives us some things on film of what we do against that type of offense, because there are some teams down south. I think Erath is kind of one of those teams, and Gina for sure, that's going to bring in that kind of that big boy mentality. And so having that experience, and then it's just a rivalry game. And you and I were talking out there a minute ago, there's some kids that play here that grew up in Union Parish, so they've got cousins and friends over there, and they've just moved to Sterlington, and so now they're a part of this program. And so the rivalry part of it, we like it. A lot of guys, especially up here, there's some bye weeks that take place. Our coaches hate a bye week. They want to keep these kids moving and going, and so I think next year, I think the week 10 game's actually moving up in the season. I've seen some schedule projections on that, but I don't imagine this game with Union's going anywhere, because it's a good one.
And so again, this really sets up Sterlington in a good spot to defend their championship. And as I recall, Panthers were probably the only team north of New Iberia or that was able to bring a trophy back to their campus last season, as really South Louisiana dominated the Superdome game. So this team returns a lot of key players from that run, particularly Breen, the Birches, and Devin Downs, who got in the end zone last night. But you mentioned a minute ago some underclassmen that have stepped up and now are a lot more experienced after 10 weeks than they were in fall camp. So what about this roster staying the same, do you think, is going to be beneficial for the playoff run? And then also, what do you think about some of these new guys that are experienced varsity players now? What can they bring to kind of help bolster the team as they get into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the offense. Offensively, you've got some guys on that offensive line, like a guy named Drew Whitlock. He plays guard for us, and Gideon Ashley. Some guys that got really, really good snaps there. Whitlock has been a starter. I think this is his 3rd year that he's been a starter for us on the offensive line. So experience is an anchor there. But then it really helps to have a guy like J. Rob Breen, a quarterback, who he obviously, the offensive coordinator's son, has grown up in the system, but has been handed the ball since he was early in his sophomore year. He got the ball, and even in his freshman year had to play a little bit. And so now having him back as a junior, third season, he knows things, and he gives the coaches an element on the field of just play calling, because he can make some checks that a lot of younger quarterbacks can't. And he's growing in that. We've seen a really big progression in him over the course of the season, and even compared to last year, which is really good because of how last year ended with him at the helm. So on offense, there's some anchors there that do that. Guys like David Hickman, the tailback, are back and playing in some roles. And then TJ Birch, full-time now at fullback, is an animal to go get. So you got some good anchors there with some guys that are back that got experience playing in the Dome last year. The other thing is, it's a standard for us. Like, we're not a school, a community that's like, hey, if we get to the quarters, it's been a good run. I mean, 6-6 around here is a bad thing. And so we want to be, much like Union Parish, we want to be in the mix come semifinal week, and those chances we get to go to the Dome. I've got 4 state championship rings or 3 state championship rings right now in my collection in my own office. And man, that's all been since 2016. So it's one of those things, the expectation. These kids are growing up in it. Defensively, same thing's true. Coordinators have changed. Jeff Tannehill took over for Mark Sims in the offseason. But Tannehill's no stranger to high quality football and great strategy. But he had some anchors back. I mean, you take Trey Birch at linebacker that's getting some love. He got his first D1 offer. We think a second one is in the works, hopefully in the next few days. But he's a guy that is all over the field. And so having him back, then on the defensive line, Blake Franklin's a guy that you probably didn't call a lot of his name a lot last night, but he's an anchor. He's in the middle of that line, and he's allowing those other guys, especially those linebackers, to kind of flow the football. And then probably the 2 guys that we call the most outside of Trey Birch or Connor Justice at linebacker will be Cam Bagwell and Stephen English at those defensive end positions. 2 guys that really, I think, are under a lot of radars, but they are so fast, so quick, and good at what they do. And then the back end, you had Sam Frazier's been back there. I think it's his 3rd season as well. Anchors in the secondary. And so there's a lot of guys that were back. Now, there are a lot of new faces. We talked about that. Some freshmen are in the mix. Defensive line, guy like Silas Ashley is getting a lot of snaps. Jacoby Robinson was a big body that played last night. And then even some guys who kind of bided their time. One of the things I love about being around Sterlington football is there's some 4-year guys that haven't played all 4 years, but they've shown up for practice. They've grinded. And now, in a matchup like last night, we go a 5-man front. And so Ladarius Harris is a guy that's been around the program, hadn't got a lot of snaps, but this year, because of the late games, he's progressed. And now in a big game like that, you see him in the mix. And so there's just a lot of guys that are around there. And I go to naming names and they watch this, I'm going to be in real trouble. So, but I think it's a good mixture. But the anchor of the past and then the new bunch coming in, the standard is the standard. Hey, we got to compete at a high level.
Yeah, and you saw that defensive line in the backfield pretty much all night last night. And really, kind of a testament to the program. Even pregame, the prayer and the anthem, everybody's on the sideline, uniform, just all together. You can see the continuity and the way everybody kind of moves in the same direction. Very impressive to see and very encouraging for Sterlington fans as y'all get into the postseason here. Looking at some of these potential bracket matchups, we know St. James will probably make a run like they're used to. Similar to Sterlington, a talented returning quarterback, a talented returning running back, and a talented skill guy on the outside between Villanueva, King Young, and Johnson down there. Gina, again, you mentioned they're the 1 seed. Very likely will keep that 1 seed if they're able to take care of business tonight, and they'll be a factor again. And you mentioned some of those other D3 non-select teams that are, that are going to be, what we think quarterfinals or more. But anything in this bracket that stands out to you as far as potential matchups stylistically? I know, watching that finals game last year, Sterlington has an offense and defense that can travel, that can
right.
do what it wants to do in the postseason. But any sort of consideration as to how y'all match up with maybe some of these early rounds?
Yeah, so early rounds have been looked at, and I haven't looked at it today. I was looking at it earlier in the week. Teams like a Marksville down there, Athletic. We know about them. I've got some friends down that direction. Of course, I think we got Gina and Marksville on tape just from some things that have been kind of looked at, or maybe it was on Huddle. I can't remember, but Marksville's interesting just because they're so athletic. Not really an overpowering presence, but could cause you some problems. And I'll tell you one that is in our district that I think people may overlook is going to be Richwood. Richwood defensively is really, really good. And so if they run into somebody who offensively is maybe not as sharp as they need to be, Richwood's going to give somebody some problems. And that Kinder is kind of an unknown. They play in that. The D3 thing is so confusing when you start taking 2A schools and 2A districts. I mean, even Union has been with us for so long, that's familiar. Kinder's been in 2A for forever. Mm-hmm. And so I think they're sitting at 5 right now and just not sure. Look at their schedule, not sure who they've played and kind of what's going on, how good they are. But I think the top 4 are probably the ones that you're like, okay, these are the matchups. I mean, obviously, if we're going to meet St. James, we'd much rather meet them in the Dome than if they're sitting at the 2 seed and we got to go to Vacherie. We've been down there. Somebody asked me this week, is that a beautiful road trip? I said, no, it's not a bad place. They're super friendly, but you don't go to Vacherie unless you're going there on purpose. And it's a tough place to go win. So, St. James has got kind of on the radar. Erath is another unknown. They're sitting at 4, and there is some discussion. Maybe they can get to 3 with a win tonight. Again, I think we're going to have to wait till Sunday to see how everything shakes out. But I look at Gina like us. Gina came up here last year, and we match up really, really well with Gina. So even if we have to go there, I think it'd be a great environment. They still have that small town feel, and we love going places like that. And then I think Oak Grove kind of jumped on some radars last night with a big win over OCS. So never count the Oak Grove Tigers out, but they'll be in the mix, I would imagine, quarterfinal week for sure.
So, yeah, I mean, and you make some great points there. This bracket, I don't think hardly anybody has too much of a problem with this. If you're a fan of this bracket, is this playoffs could go similarly. It may not finish the exact way. The matchups will be a little different, but the top teams from last year are largely right back where they wanted to be. So get you out of here on this one, Ben. For Sterlington to make this run, again, feel confident 8-2. Some big matchups against 4A and 5A. A strong finish through district, and then this battle of the bridge last night. What has to go from good to great, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams, for this year's Sterlington team to win as many games in the postseason as they did a year ago?
Yeah, I think one of the things, the penalties last night were a little concerning. I think we got to clean that up. And some of that's rivalry game, right? A lot of emotion, I think on both sides. And so, but when you get into the playoffs, you can't afford those kind of lapses, the extra yards and 15 here and 15 there. I mean, the first 2 first downs that Union had last night were on penalties. We can't do that against good teams. The other thing I think is just going to be ball security. If we can create turnovers and get turnovers and then not have turnovers, I like us against anybody if we control the ball. Not to say that it's going to be easy. We went in as a 6 seed last year and had to travel twice or travel once to Oak Grove. And so, I think those 2 things. But from a scheme perspective, then obviously just stay healthy. So we should get a bye week this week. And so anybody that's nicked up from last night should be good to go with round 2. But, you got to play the games and see how it rolls.
Yeah, and it looks like, battle of the trenches, those are some matchups that Panthers have won all season long. So, right back where y'all want to be, not all the way back, because I'm sure you'd like to get back down to Central Business District in New Orleans again this year. But everything's set up to have the Sterlington Panthers potentially have as much success as they did last year. So again, Sterlington right where y'all want to be for this playoff run. And Ben, we really appreciate your time this morning. Hopefully we can talk some more, have a few more playoff games to discuss as we move through the postseason.
Absolutely. Marsh, appreciate your time, man. And go Panthers.
Yep. Thank you so much, Ben.
All right.
Yeah, great to hear from Ben Hackler. And the Panthers with a super impressive win last night and got it done in the playoffs last year. So no reason to believe that as good as they've looked against tough competition and as talented as some of their key players are, they should be right back in that tournament some way, shape, or form. Meanwhile, Select Division I. That was a bracket that was won by Edna Carr last year. Edna Carr will most likely be the number 1 seed in that bracket again, unless something bizarre happens, but I don't see that happening, and I don't see Carr slipping from that 1 seed. But a team that will be in that bracket and fighting for a chance to make it to the Superdome will be the Tioga Indians. They take on the Franklin Parish Patriots tonight in a battle for District 2-4A. So we're going to preview that game. We've got a chance to talk with Case Malone and John Landry from the Tioga Indians, and we'll see what the Indians can do to try to get their first district championship since 2020. Big game on Friday night. The Tioga Indians travel to Franklin Parish to take on the 8-1 Franklin Parish Patriots for a battle for that district in 2-4A. And we are going to bring on both the quarterback and the offensive coordinator for the Tioga Indians, Case Malone, and Coach John Landry are with us today. And guys, we appreciate you spending some time with us to help preview this game. Coach Landry, I want to start with you. Both Case and Kenny Pontier have gone on the record saying that a big reason for their success this year has been what they did in the summer. A, what is your reaction to hearing that from two of your senior leaders? And B, what do you think it was over the summer that helped lead to 8 wins so far in the regular season?
Well, I mean, that says a lot for our off-season program and what Coach Crispin has done. Even before he became the head coach, he was the guy in charge of the off-season program. And so I think he does a tremendous job getting those guys physically ready to play. And the kids show up and do the work. They show up every day. They work their tails off every day, during the summer leading up to it. And this summer was no different. Kenny and Case in particular, they're just great, tremendous leaders, that put the work in. And, they got themselves ready and it showed on the field.
And Case, we spoke, you and I spoke earlier in the year about that summer and what it's brought to y'all this year. Got that winning record again, got yourself in a position to make the playoffs and go on a playoff run. Talk to me a little bit about your fellow senior class, because between Tucker Landry, Kenny, Kervin on the outside, and you and some other of your senior guys, y'all really have made this team go so far this year.
Yeah, really just the chemistry we all have. We been together all 4 years, been throwing to Kervin for way longer than just high school. And just the chemistry we have, like on and off the field, just makes what we got something special.
And Coach Landry, looking at how that offense has worked so far, another thing that Case said was, besides the summer, a big reason why is Kervin Johnson. That's no secret. But what in particular does he do in the pass game that helps everything else click on O?
Well, I mean, just physically, he's, he just imposes his will a lot of times physically. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, runs a lot faster than his 40 time says. And so he's just, physically, he's a great athlete. He can go up and catch contested balls. He can run by people. He's very hard to tackle. He's powerful when he runs the ball. So, he's just a really good football player.
And Case, you've worked with Kervin. You said you play with him a good bit. What's it been like working with Tucker Landry for several years now, to where y'all are experienced, y'all are multi-year starters? And look, it's nice to have those skill position guys that are experienced and they're talented, but to have somebody up front that can really establish literally from the snap's got to be big for you.
Yeah, it is. Me and Tucker have been working with each other freshman year, and Tucker, he just knows the game. He's been starting since he was in 8th grade. He just knows the game like it's the back of his hand, and it's just great being able to lead the team with him and all the other seniors.
And Coach Landry, you mentioned to me earlier this week about the importance of Tucker Landry up front. Not just him, but along with him, what have those 4 new offensive linemen done so far that's really pleased you, and how can they continue to carry what they've done forward?
Well, they've all accepted coaching. That was, our offensive line was the biggest question mark going into the season. I think anybody would tell you that. Everybody else, all of our skill position guys, of course, Case, they were all coming back from last year. And so other than Tucker, going into the summer, those other 4 guys were going to be, the biggest question mark. And I'm gonna tell you what, man, all they've done was accept the coaching. They've shown up every day. They've worked really, really hard every day. Our offensive line coaches, Coach Book, Coach Brumfield, do a tremendous job with those guys. So, just showing up and working, man. Just showing up every day, not listening to the noise, and just working, man, and getting better every day.
Case, I know, last Friday was a school record night for y'all on offense, and I know y'all moved past it and y'all's focus is on week 10 and beyond, but what was it like to have that kind of night on offense where really the running game was kind of where the touchdowns came from, but everybody seemed to be, whether it's special teams, kicks, punts, whatever it was, everybody seemed to be getting in the end zone some way.
Yeah, we were just all in tune with each other, and it feels great being able to be a part of that and be in the school history, knowing that we scored that many points, and just a great feeling,
And so, Coach Landry, I'll ask you, what do you think from last week? Just a really successful night offensively, and really from the past. What do y'all take into week 10 to, like, we saw what good looks like? Now we've got to take the show on the road and make it happen.
Well, we just have to keep doing what we've been doing all year. We've been pretty balanced, running the ball and throwing the ball. I think we're right around 230 yards running and passing every week. Case does an excellent job of getting the ball, spreading it around to everybody, taking what's there from the defense. And Kenny, you get the ball in his hands, he can go. So we just have to keep doing what we're doing. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to get fancy. Just stay balanced and keep spreading it around.
In Case, share with us your mindset for this big road game. What have y'all been preparing for in particularly, and where do you and your teammates have to get yourselves mentally to say, look, this is the biggest game we've had in a couple seasons as far as the regular season goes, so we really want to get a win?
Well, we know that it's the district championship, and they got some guys that can compete, and we just have to execute the game plan that our coaches gave us, and just know how to play ball.
And Coach, I'll keep going on that one. Other than a district championship, which would be huge, first one since 2020, other than that momentum of saying, look, we went on the road and beat a tough team, what other signs of success are you looking for other than the scoreboard at FP in week 10?
Well, just continue to get better. Obviously, stay healthy. At this point in the season, everybody's, the district championship's important. Yeah, it's obviously something that we want to do. It's our first goal, going into every season. But beyond that, you want to get yourself in the best position possible to make a run in the playoffs, and set yourself up, whether it's with your seeding or just health wise. You make sure you're playing at your best at that moment. So, we're trying to get ourselves in the best position possible to get in the playoffs and make a run at it.
In Case, we mentioned Coach Chrisman earlier, obviously, taking over as the head coach this season. You've been with him a few years, but what's been your experience this season having him as the head coach and being someone that leads the entire team and not just an assistant like he was in the past?
It's great. He shows really good leadership. Fires up the team, and he's always been there for you if you down or anything like that. He's just a great coach, and I'm glad he's my head coach.
And Coach Landry, I'm sure the same. There's things that y'all probably learn from each other, not just offensive line coaching, but really everything that has to do with football. I'm sure y'all to this day share information.
Oh yeah, for sure. Look, we knew when he got the job, it was going to be a smooth transition. The kids absolutely love him. You hear what Case says about him. I have two sons on the team, and I know what their feelings are about Coach Chrisman. So, he's got a great relationship with the kids. The kids love him, and they want to play hard for him.
Case, what's this season been like for you to have so much success in the win column, but also just to have, look, I cover this whole state, no matter where you are, no matter which area code, people are wanting to know about Tioga. How good is this team? What kind of a run can they make in select Division I? What's it been like this year with coming off a season where you didn't have as many wins last year, but now you're riding high, but you're also feeling, look, people are watching us, and we got some expectations to live up to.
Yeah, it's a big step up from last year. We fell short a couple games, and it's just we knew that we could be better. And this year, we've really proven that we're being better than we were last year, and we have a good chance this season to go show everybody who Tioga is and what we will become in the future.
Coach Landry, what do you think it's been that, as far as, look, we knew we can get better, other than the things we talked about, summer workouts, leadership from the seniors, things like that? Where have things clicked to, look, we knew where we could be better, and this year we are what we thought we could be?
Well, I think a big part of it is just experience, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But even on offense, we return so many kids that have been playing, for the last 2 or 3 years. Case is a 3-year starter. Kenny's a 3-year starter. Kervin's a 3-year starter. Christian Isles, our slot receiver, has been playing for 3 years. So we, just the experience, having so many games under their belts, they know what to expect. Our install of our offense, was really easy this year because they've been doing it for so long. They know what I like to do. They know what I want and expect. And, just having that experience and being able to be around, in the program for 4 years, doing the same thing for 4 years has paid off.
So I'll ask you this last one, Coach Landry, and Case, same for you. So we've talked about experience, talked about success, we've talked about getting better and things clicking. What do you still want to see, Coach? What improvements do you still want to see? Whether it's a senior, a freshman, anyone, where do you think, look, to go from good to great and to really be a player in this bracket, we need to do this in week 10 and beyond?
Well, we just need to continue to get better up front. The guys up front, we got to keep getting better every week. It's not going to get any easier for them or for us as an offense as a whole. So, up front, we got to continue to get better. Individually at our skill positions, we have to continue to get better. We have to continue to make plays. And when, we tell all the guys, everybody hears about Kervin and Kenny and Case, and rightfully so. Those 3 guys have been great players for us and have been, really good for us. But there's been opportunities for Christian Isles and for Tarver Landry and Angelo Shelton, Jackson Tarver, to make plays on offense. And when they've gotten those opportunities, they've made those plays. And so we have to continue to make plays when you get a chance, and keep spreading it around. And that's going to be really important for us to, moving down the road.
Coach Landry, it's been super exciting to see the success that you've had so far in the regular season, and hopefully we can, continue to see this team represent Cenla and continue to get wins. Cannot wait for this game on Friday night, and we appreciate y'all's time so much today.
Hey, thank you for having us, and we appreciate everything y'all do, and we're looking forward to Friday night, that's for sure.
Yep, so are we. Go Indians. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right. I want to thank Coach Chrisman and Case Malone for joining us to preview this game. That'll be a good one. It's live on 446 Sports tonight, Facebook, X, YouTube, wherever you are. If you go to YouTube and search for 446 Sports, you'll have the feed for that game. You'll also have Ash tonight as they look to potentially get a district championship on the road at Neville. A lot will have to happen within that district between Ruston and West Monroe, but Ash has a chance at another district title in Division 2-5A. So wherever you are under Friday Night Lights tonight, enjoy it. Cheer on the guys. It'll be the last game for some of these seniors who will take the field tonight. And that's something that a lot of us have been thinking about this week, is that it's exciting to gear up for the playoffs and think about that. But for some guys, it'll be the last time that they put on and take off that helmet and are out there with their teammates. So wherever you are, enjoy it tonight. Support the programs that work so hard to get us to week 10, and we're already here. So lots of games tonight. Tioga and Franklin Parish will be a good one. And wherever you are, we hope that you enjoy it. Make sure you catch the Red River Roundup tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We'll have our full slate of panelists from all over the state. Try to make sense of what happened in the regular season, and playoff brackets will come out Sunday, so we won't have all that final information. But we'll do our best to recap what happened on Friday night and kind of see where we stand as we head into the postseason. So don't forget, tomorrow, Red River Roundup, 8 a.m. on 446 Sports. And we'll do our best to try to make sense of it all and get ready for a playoff push. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us this afternoon. Hope you have a great Friday, a great weekend. Hope you can catch a game. If not, right here on 446, we'll have some of the best games in the state taking place. So we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for the Red River Roundup with Marshall Loeffler. And as always, it's on 446 Sports.